Hello Internet! Welcome to the bonus video for Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen. This is going to cover all sorts of things that I missed or didn't go into enough detail on in the Let's Play proper. This LP was a little bit rushed, so there's a lot to go over. Let's get started. The first thing has actually already appeared in this video. In version 1.0 of FireRed and LeafGreen, the intro sequence will just say Game Freak. In version 1.1 and above, it will say Game Freak Presents. I don't know why this was changed, but it reminds me of a very similar thing in Sonic the Hedgehog on Genesis, where you can only see the title screen saying press start if you activate a code to see some hidden credits, just because it was put on the same hidden layer. Anyway, let's get started. Let's start by talking about even more differences between version 1.0 and above. There were actually multiple things that were changed regarding the Pokédex in the 1.1 release of FireRed and LeafGreen. First of all, the way Pokemon categories are displayed was fixed. In 1.0, a Pokemon's category will only display the first word, leading to a lot of Pokemon being known as the tiny Pokemon, or Jynx being called the human Pokemon. In 1.1, the full category is displayed, bringing Pidgey and Spearow back to being a tiny bird, and Jynx to being a human shape Pokemon. I think this was funnier before being fixed, but I know why they fixed it. There's some weird implications if Jynx is human. Especially since you have to trade to get it. In 1.0, when selecting a Pokemon in the Pokédex, the LNR Help button system will tell you to select Area to display the town map with the Pokemon's habitats. Area is not an option in this menu, as you can see. You have Cry, Next Data, and Cancel. In version 1.1, this was corrected to say Next Data. So, there's the one thing that the help system got wrong in this game. Damn. Chikorita's Pokédex entry in FireRed was changed in 1.1, kind of. It was initially copy and pasted from Pokemon Silver, saying, its pleasantly aromatic leaves have the ability to check the humidity and temperature. Leaves was changed to Leaf in 1.1. This change is dumb. I want to meet whoever it was that had a really serious problem with this initial Pokédex entry, who didn't have the same issue in Pokemon Silver. Tyranitar is another Pokemon who had its Pokédex entry changed in version 1.1 of FireRed. Initially, its entry was the same as LeafGreen, copy and pasted from Pokemon Gold. Its body can't be harmed by any sort of attack, so it's very eager to make challenges against enemies. Instead, in 1.1 of FireRed, it now says it has an impudent nature, having great strength that can change surrounding landforms. Again, absolutely no idea why this was changed, but it was. And lastly, the most important fix in version 1.1. The word adapter was misspelled on the box in 1.0 copy, spelling it Adaptator. This was fixed in 1.1. The European release contains all of the changes made in the English 1.1 release, while also fixing the Infinite Nugget oversight on Nugget Bridge. So, if you're European and wondering why God has forsaken you, now you know. One thing I said I was going to make a video about but never got around to was the Fame Checker. So let's just go over everything there is to go over now about it. I'll start by showing you exactly what you need to do with this thing and the rewards you get for completing it. Looks like we've already made some pretty good progress, honestly. I am a little bit worried because I believe some of these things are missable.
Oh no!
Which is terrifying, but whatever. I'm gonna go about this in order. Starting with Professor Oak, examine the sign in front of his lab. Oak Pokemon Research Lab. Yeah, that's all you have to do for this one. For the second one, it's a piece of dialogue that Professor Oak gives you naturally at the beginning of the game. You get more for talking to the aides in his lab. Professor Oak is going to have his own radio show soon. The program will be called Professor Oak's Pokemon Seminar. It's a reference to a future game, maybe. Hi, Winter. I bet you become good friends with your Pokemon. By the way, did you know about Daisy? If you show Daisy your Pokemon, she can tell how much it likes you. Occasionally, she'll even groom a Pokemon for you. This is a secret, so please don't tell anyone. Well, that's not related to Professor Oak, but whatever. I'm just getting a little bit ahead of the curve here. There's more dialogue you get from the aides in this lab before entering the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, it seems I may have missed that. But maybe what she just said will enter anyway. I've heard there's alternatives to the things that are missable. Unfortunately, the fame checker is not very well documented, so I have no way of confirming this. Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Professor Oak, the Pokemon researcher. Professor Oak reportedly lives with his grandchildren, Daisy and Aiden. It's in the trainer's school. Pokemon journals are going to be everywhere. I have them all listed in Pokemon centers. That's just not completely accurate to where you'll find them. They're everywhere. The last piece of information Agatha gives you before you battle her, so we have everything for Professor Oak now. Next up is Daisy Oak. We already got the first one for her, obviously, earlier in this video. So let's go talk to some other people. My notes say to talk to a woman in Viridian City, but I have talked to every woman in Viridian City, and none of them have said anything about Daisy. Our chairman really does adore his Pokemon, but the person who's liked by Pokemon most by Pokemon is Daisy, I think. Yeah, it's in Vermilion City, in the Pokemon fan club, and I just can't spell, apparently. There's one we already got for talking to this man with a Togepi or a Togetic in your party. As far as I know, it doesn't need the one that you hatch from the egg he gives you. But maybe it does, I don't know. Again, this is an under-researched topic.
Oh, hello, that's a cute Togepi. Seeing it reminds me of a sweet little girl I met while traveling. She was gently grooming Pokemon. She was a little angel. That little girl's name, I think it was Daisy.
And on that topic, I guess, I will say that the Pokemon Journal in Viridian City that gave you a piece of information for Professor Oak also gives one for Daisy. Oh yeah, I should also mention that every single thing for Daisy other than that Pokemon Journal so far, you need to enter the Hall of Fame for. Some NPC dialogue genuinely just changes after you enter the Hall of Fame in order to make the Fame Checker completable, so yeah. Celadon Mansion.
Oh, hello, dearie. Did you enjoy my tea? By the way, dear, are you by any chance from Pallet Town? A girl from Pallet Town, Daisy. She enjoys tea every day. She visits the Celadon department store to buy some tea.
Cool, why do you know so much? Why do you know I'm from Pallet Town, first of all, but why do you know Daisy comes here every day to buy tea? Last piece of data you get for reading the Pokemon Journal in Four Islands Pokemon Center. This is a Pokemon Journal from years ago. Pokemon Journal Contest Special. The Spring Pokemon Contest Grand Champion is Daisy Oak of Pallet Town. I still think it's really cool that she's like... essentially this universe's equivalent of the Grand Festival Champion, I guess. I think that's cool. That should be everything related to Daisy? Yep. Next up is Brock. We have a lot for Brock, too. Jeez. First things first for Brock, we want to talk to this man at the entrance of Pewter City. There aren't many serious Pokemon trainers here. They're all like bug catchers, you know, just hobbyists. But Pewter Gym's Brock isn't like that, not one bit. Yep. Want to read the sign to his gym. Pewter City Pokemon Gym leader Brock, the rock-solid Pokemon trainer. That gives us one. Brock gives you one naturally before battling him. There are all kinds of trainers in this huge world of ours. You appear to be very gifted as a Pokemon trainer, so let me make a suggestion. Go to the gym in Cerulean and test your abilities. Yeah, he doesn't have anything after battling him, but you get something for, like, battling him. In the Pewter Museum, one of these bookshelves, I think. Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Pewter Gym Leader Brock. Brock rarely laughs, but is said to be unable to stop if he starts. Game Brock is so different from anime Brock, and he sounds really endearing and less creepy, so I'm a fan of it. Oh wow, that's the Boulder Badge. You got it from Brock, didn't you? Brock is cool. He's not just tough, people like and respect him. I want to become a gym leader like him. This is right outside Mount Moon at the west half of Route 4. And lastly, Hi, I'm excavating for fossils here under Mount Moon. Sometimes Brock of Pewter Gym lends me a hand. That, I believe, is the last one for Brock. First one for Misty is for reading the sign outside the gym, the tomboyish mermaid. For the second one, Misty gives it to you naturally before battling her, and then tells you about TMO3. There's also one for talking to the swimmer. Misty is a trainer who's going to keep improving. She won't lose to someone like you. Well, about that, she has a level 21 Starmie, and I have a level 65 Venusaur, so we'll see, buddy. I want to head to Cerulean Cape at the end of Route 25. This cape is a famous dating spot. Misty, the gym leader, has high hopes about this place. Maybe we'll learn more about that later. Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Cerulean Gym Leader Misty. Misty is said to worship Lorelei of the Elite Four. That will only appear after you enter the Hall of Fame. They tend to keep the Elite Four very close to their chest for some reason. Lastly, we want to speak to this guy outside the Seafoam Islands. Strong trainers and water Pokemon are common sights in these parts. They say that Misty of the Cerulean Gym trains here. As far as I know, that is the last one for Misty. Yep. For Lieutenant Surge, the first one is for reading the sign as usual, the Lightning American. As with every gym leader, Lieutenant Surge gives you one of them before battling him. We want to talk to Gentleman Tucker and battle him. This is actually a required battle, so this isn't missable. I wrote in my notes that this might be missable because I'm used to fighting these trainers, and I'm used to them being skippable, but no, you have to fight him. He'll tell you that Lieutenant Surge was a strict CO in the military. After talking to him again, it's not easy opening that door. Lieutenant Surge was always famous for his cautious nature in the army. So yeah, there's two for talking to Gentleman Tucker. One for before the battle, one for after. I want to talk to Sailor Dwayne in the same gym. Lieutenant Surge installed the traps in the gym himself. He set up double locks everywhere. Let me give you a hint. When you open the first lock, the second lock is right next to it. Yeah, we know. We did that. The last one, you have to read the Pokemon Journal in the Pokemon Center after entering the Hall of Fame. Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Vermilion Gym Leader Lieutenant Surge. Lieutenant Surge is rumored to have been a pilot while home in America. He used the electricity generated by Pokemon to power his plane. They're really doubling down on the fact that, like, this is the real world in this remake, huh? I believe that was the last one for Lieutenant Surge. Yep. So next up is Erika. As usual, you get one for reading the gym sign, the nature-loving princess. And Erika gives you one herself before battling, but also, you were cataloging Pokemon? I must say I'm impressed. I would never collect Pokemon if they were unattractive. She gives you a second one for talking to her after battling. Our leader Erika might be quiet, but she's famous around here. We only use grass-type Pokemon at our gym. Why? We also use them for making flower arrangements. Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Celadon Gym Leader Erika. Rumor has it that if you peek into Celadon Gym, you can often see Erika snoozing. This one is in the Game Freak Development Room? Meeting Room. So yeah. That is the last one for Erika. Moving on to Koga. First one, as usual, is for reading the gym sign outside, the Poisonous Ninja Master. It's another one that Koga gives you naturally for, like, progressing the story, but I'm not going all the way through this maze to get it. Even though I've lost, I will keep training according to the teachings of Koga, my ninja master. My father is the gym leader of this town. I'm training to use poison Pokemon as well as my father. There's something a little interesting about this one. We'll talk about it later, but if you've played Gold and Silver, you know who this is. Wow, it even has its own bookshelf. Cool. Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Fuchsia Gym Leader Koga. Koga is said to have a thorough knowledge of medicine. He even concocts medicine to nurse his Pokemon to health. That's cool. Good for him. The last one's in the Safari Zone, so hopefully I find this fast. The Safari Zone's huge, wouldn't you say? Fuchsia's gym leader, Koga, patrols the grounds every so often. Thanks to him, we can play here knowing that we're safe. So yeah, that's in the rest house. It's on the correct path. It's the third rest house I came across going just along the correct path, so that is the best information I can give you. And that is the last one for Koga. We're on to Sabrina next. As usual, there's one for reading the gym sign. Sabrina, the master of psychic Pokemon. Sabrina herself also gives you 2 naturally before battling her. There's one I need to actually go through here to get, though, so... There used to be 2 Pokemon gyms in Saffron. The fighting dojo next door lost its gym status, though. We simply creamed them when we decided to have just one gym. Sabrina just wiped out the karate master next door. All the guys in here are just bragging about how Sabrina kicked that guy's ass. That was the one I needed for that particular thing. Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Saffron Gym Leader Sabrina. People say that Sabrina can communicate with her Pokemon during battle without speaking. Last one is in the Saffron City Pokemon Center. I was wrong. That wasn't the last one I needed for Sabrina. The last one I need for Sabrina is on 3 Island. I just forgot because I already got it. It's useless. I can't make the spoon pen with my mind. Maybe I really don't have any psychic powers. You know about a girl gym leader in Saffron City? She's a psychic type Pokemon, right? I admire her, I really do. I've heard that she's one cool customer and beautiful too. That was the last one for Sabrina. There we go. We're on to Blaine now. I'm going a little out of order since I'm already on the Sevii Islands, though. There's a Pokemon Journal in Resort Gorgeous. Pokemon Journal, special feature, Cinnabar Gym Leader Blaine. Blaine is said to remove his dark shades only when he's thinking up new quiz questions. Yeah, that sounds about right. Obviously, there's one for reading the sign outside of Cinnabar Island, the hot-headed Quiz Master. Our leader, Blaine, became lost in the mountains, but good. Night fell when a fiery bird Pokemon appeared. Its light allowed Blaine to find his way down safely. Super Nerd Derek in the gym has one. Apparently Moltres saved Blaine's life. I think we could have learned that in Red and Blue too, which is a little cool. Examining this photo, it's a photo of Blaine and Mr. Fuji. They're standing shoulder to shoulder with big grins. That also adds one. Cinnabar Gym's Blaine is quite the odd fellow. He's lived on the island since way before the lab was built. If I'm not mistaken, that is the last one for Blaine. Alright. I'm starting to get my hopes up a little because, I was almost 100% certain that there was a few things I missed out on for Blaine and for, Sabrina. But no, I've gotten everything for everyone so far. Next is Giovanni. This one is a little bit weird because you get a lot of them through the story and a lot of them through oddly specific things. The first one Giovanni gives to you naturally before battling him in Celadon City at the Rocket Hideout. Now it's time for the intimidating part where I have to go through Silphco and talk to every single fucking NPC. Huh? Team Rocket is gone? Yes. It seems like all the ones who aren't affiliated with Team Rocket just sort of vanish after the takeover, so there's actually not that many NPCs in here. Those thugs that took over our building. Their boss said he was looking for strong Pokemon. I hope our president managed to avoid trouble. That's the first one. In Silphco, not in general. We canceled the Master Ball project because of Team Rocket. No, you didn't. Those things, I can get those things like they're candy in Scarlet and Violet. Liar. Apparently I never got the calcium when I ran through here again. On the 8th floor, Team Rocket's boss is terribly cruel. To him, Pokemon are just tools to be used. What will happen if that tyrant takes over our company? So these guys just don't stop panicking in FireRed and LeafGreen because you need them for the Fame Checker. Maybe the Fame Checker isn't designed as cruelly as I thought it was, because I thought for sure that these two were definitely missable. That's all the ones in Silph Co. Giovanni does give you one naturally before fighting him in the gym, but you also get one for talking to the gym guide after beating him. Blow me away! Giovanni was the gym leader of Viridian? Yeah, that's a Fame Checker dialogue. As you may have guessed, the last piece of dialogue is for talking to Gideon after delivering the Sapphire to Celio. What, you again? You're not Giovanni's kid, are you? No, that can't be right. Giovanni's kid has red hair. You don't have any reasons for bugging me. Leave me alone. Giovanni has a son with red hair. Maybe we'll learn more about that in the future. And yes, that is the last one for Giovanni. Lots of scientists like to talk about Giovanni. Lorelei is up next. Lorelei, you obviously get a lot of information about just from talking to her before battling her. I'm pretty sure every member of the Elite Four basically gives you 2 naturally before battling them. At least the first 2 members do. So I think 4 Island is a pretty natural place to look for things about Lorelei. Oh hi, here comes the braggart. Oh, I forgot about you. Eggs. I got an egg sticker. He gave me an egg sticker. I want to speak to this old man in the Pokemart. We've had a great and powerful trainer grow up on this island. I bet you'd even know her. It's Lorelei of the Elite Four. When Lorelei was just a tyke, I taught her about Pokemon. So that's Lorelei's teacher. Cool. It's obviously one for speaking to the little girl stalking Lorelei. Oh, you found me. Please don't tell Lorelei. Did you know that Lorelei has lots and lots of stuffed dolls? Every time she comes back to 4 Island, her collection grows. Yeah, we know. And this old lady. Lorelei has gone back. The Lapras she has, I imagine it to be the one that she met as a child. I believe it was an Icefall Cave that she caught it. Perhaps that Pokemon has been with her ever since. So she met her Lapras as a child, and that's why she has 2 aces, Lapras and Jinx. As well as that, we want to read the Pokemon Journal on 5 Island. Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Elite Four's Lorelei. Known for her logical, calculated, and cool battling style, Lorelei has a surprising secret. It's the dolls, it's the dolls, it's the dolls! And that, I believe, is the last one for Lorelei. Yep. So we're on to Bruno next. And geez, we got almost everything for Bruno on the first try, huh? Bruno obviously gives you 2 for just talking to him and battling him, as with most Elite Four members. Want to head to Ember's Spa. There should be a black belt here somewhere. Yes, he'll appear after beating the Elite Four. After an honest day of training, nothing beats a relaxing soak in the hot spring pool. Bruno, who's a senior ahead of me, visits the spa on occasion. He comes to rehab injuries, both his own and his Pokemon's. We already talked to this guy because we didn't start exploring the Sevii Islands until entering the Hall of Fame, but you do need to enter the Hall of Fame for this dialogue. It's obviously the one for speaking to this woman on 2 Island. Listen, did you know? A famous trainer came to the island a while back. He's one of the Elite Four, his name is Bruno. He went away disappointed when he found out that they were all sold out of Rage Candy Bars. Rage Candy Bars are an item from Generation 2 that don't even exist in the code of Generation 3, which is why the name of the item is in all caps. I know I saw somebody have an issue with that. I don't remember who. It might have been a friend. It might have been a viewer. Either way, that's why. You know I always welcome a reason to come back to the Sevalt Canyon. Training by oneself is certainly not a bad thing, but it's also not bad to aim for the top with a partner. Even Bruno. He trained with a fellow by the name of Brawley before. They were so gay. Lastly, we want to head into the Pokemon fan club. Huh? You! Are you maybe... You are Winter! We were just talking about you. We were just talking about how an incredibly good trainer appeared. And that someone is you! You're so cool! So we decided that we'll become your fan club. We all hope you keep battling and show us how cool you are. That way maybe other people will become fans just like me. So yeah, after becoming the champion, the Pokemon fan club will actually become the You fan club. Which, cool. Pokemon Journal special feature, Elite Four's Bruno. Bruno apparently joined the Elite Four out of his burning ambition to battle the best trainers. That is the last one for Bruno, I believe. Yep, we're on to Agatha, who I also have almost everything for. God damn. Let's talk to some of the people in here. I'm gonna do a quick aside here. Obviously, like, if you're watching the video, there's probably chapters, so you can skip around, but I forgot completely that the fan club does this. I'll always be cheering for you. Go, Winter, go! Oh, it's Winter. Too cool. Oh yeah. Can you autograph something? How about my shorts? That's gross.
Winter, I've had the pleasure of watching you battle. It brings back sweet memories of my own long-lost youth. May you continue to find success. You have a fan in me. You have a fan inside me.
Lieutenant Surge is cool, huh? I love the way he talks. I'd really relish a chance to meet him in person once. This is a Redditor. Master Koga is so dignified. He is so my type. Master Koga from Breath of the Wild? Why can't the others see the dignity he simply uses?
Hiya!
There's but one trainer who has my respect, and that is none other than my master at the fighting dojo. You should become a fan of my master like me.
Hiya!
He has the right spirit. Recently, Aiden has been on fire. The way he battles, it's just the way I like it. Well, people have been known to say that Aiden is flaming, but... Do you know what? I want to be like Sabrina. I want to be a psychic girl just like her. True. Everyone wants to be a magical girl until they actually become a magical girl. Alright, on to Agatha. For 2 of Agatha's, she gives them to you naturally before battling her, like every Elite Four member so far. There's also this black belt who appears after you enter the Hall of Fame. Agatha's ghost-type Pokemon are horrifically terrifying in toughness. I took my fighting-type Pokemon and raised them to the max. I went at Agatha feeling pretty confident, but she whipped us. Wait, that means you beat Lorelei and Bruno. This guy could have been the champion. That old lady's also got a really short fuse, too. Doesn't take anything to get that scary lady hollering. This counts for 2 entries in the fame checker. They really did not know where to put stuff for Agatha. We never read the Pokemon Journal on 7 Island. Pokemon Journal, special feature, Elite Four's Agatha. In her youth? Yes, we did read this, actually. Agatha and Professor Oak were rivals who vied for supremacy as trainers. So yeah, they were rivals. We already knew that. Lastly, there's an old lady somewhere on 6 Island who we need to talk to. That's an old man, not lady. Well, maybe. What are his pronouns?
Play with Pokemon lots and live a long life. Take Agatha, for example. She set a record for being the oldest ever Elite Four member. She spurs me to do bigger things.
So yeah, Agatha's defining character trait is still that she's old. And I believe that was the last one for Agatha. Yep, there we go. As with the other Elite Four members, Lance gives you his fame checker dialogue, naturally before battling him. This fan club. No one here has a clue. How could they not recognize the brilliance that is Lance? He stands for justice. He's cool and yet passionate. He's the greatest Lance. Cool. We have a customer, Lance, who occasionally comes. He always buys capes. I wonder, does he have many identical capes at home? This is on the 2nd floor of the department store, and I think that's very funny that Lance just has a ton of identical capes. It's fine. I think capes are awesome. Not as much as somebody else in here, though. You better believe the Indigo Plateau is not spared from having a Pokemon Journal. Special feature, Elite Four's Lance. Lance's grandfather is thought to be the elder of a famous clan of Dragon Masters. It's pretty cool. Maybe we'll learn more about that later. Maybe becoming an Elite Four member is in the blood. From what I've heard, Lance has a cousin who's a gym leader somewhere far away. Maybe we'll learn about that another time. That is the last one for Lance, I believe. Both of those are at the Indigo Plateau. Let's see. Yep. Look at that. Bill is next up. Aiden gave us the first one naturally as soon as we got the fame checker, so we are moving on to Cerulean City. Bill has lots of Pokemon. He collects rare ones too. Okay, it's this little boy in Cerulean City. Next, we want to speak to Bill's grandfather.
You met Bill? He's my grandson. He always liked collecting things, even as a child.
Good to know. The last three, we need to go to the Sevii Islands for all of them. On one island, I want to speak to Celio. Hello, Winter. I've been hearing rumors about you. By the way, Winter, you're from Pallet Town, aren't you? I've heard that it's a quiet and pleasant place. Bill's hometown is Goldenrod City, where his folks still live. I've heard that it's quite the festive, bustling city. I'd like to go there one day.
He's totally fucking gay for Bill. He's so gay. He's so gay.
Hello, Winter. I've been hearing rumors about you. By the way, Winter, you're from Pallet Town. Okay, he's gonna say the same thing. We need to just keep talking to Celio, and eventually he'll tell us new things. Winter, is there anything that you can't stand? Apparently, Bill simply can't stomach milk at all. So Bill is lactose intolerant. We're learning a lot from Bill's boyfriend. While I'm just spamming the A button against Celio, it's worth noting, this is the only direct mention of the Johto region in all of FireRed and LeafGreen as far as I'm aware, so yeah. Goldenrod City is all we got to hear about. Winter, what's your favorite kind of Pokemon? Bill is a Pokemaniac, so he loves every kind. Apparently the first one he caught was an Abra. Awesome. That's the last one for Bill. You get half of them just for spamming the A button on Bill's boyfriend. He loves Bill so much. They're so gay. Yep, that's the last one for Bill. The entire bottom row is his boyfriend. Mr. Fuji is next. First of all, we want to speak to this little girl in Mr. Fuji's house.
This is really Mr. Fuji's house. He's really kind. He looks after abandoned and orphaned Pokemon.
That's our first one. We also want to check this magazine. Pokemon Fan Magazine, monthly grand prize drawing. The application form is gone. It's been clipped out. Someone must have applied already. So he's a Pokemon fan, I guess? For one of them, a Team Rocket grunt that you're required to fight in Pokemon Tower tells you it before battling, so you get it naturally through story progression. I recently moved to this town. I hear that Mr. Fuji's not from these parts originally either. That's in the Lavender Town Pokemon Center. You get an entry from examining the photo in Cinnabar Gym for Mr. Fuji as well as Blaine, obviously, because they're friends, so yeah. Don't need to do that again, but in here, I was walking to the entirely wrong direction. Pokemon Journal, special feature, Mr. Fuji of Pokemon House. Editor, the shy Mr. Fuji turned down our interview requests. He's a kindly man who is adored and respected in Lavender Town. And that's the last thing for Mr. Fuji. He turns down requests for interviews. There we go. That's the entire fame checker completed. Mr. Fuji is an interesting one. It's pretty clear he has a connection to Mewtwo and the experiments in the burned tower, and I think the fact that you get all the information about him in Cinnabar Island and Lavender Town says a lot. So, for Professor Oak, research labs. He makes a complete guide. He wants to make a complete guide on all the Pokemon in the world. He may not look like much, but he's the authority on Pokemon. He's going to have his own radio show soon called Professor Oak's Pokemon Seminar. He takes a lot of interest in people and was once tough and handsome, but that was decades ago. And he lives with his grandchildren. If you press start after getting everything for the fame checker, there will be a message from whoever you're talking about to you. From Professor Oak to Winter.
Why do Pokemon compete and battle so hard for you? They do so because they can see the love and trust you have toward Pokemon. Never forget that.
So yeah, we also get a nice, like, front sprite for Professor Oak, which is interesting because you can never battle him. More on that later. Daisy is next. I'm not going to go over all the dialogue since I already showed all of it, but I will go over all these messages. From Daisy to Winter. While I was comfortably enjoying my tea breaks, you've grown very skilled and powerful. I hope you'll remain a good rival to my little brother. Brock. In this big world of ours, there must be many tough trainers. Let's both keep training and make ourselves stronger. Misty. I'm going to keep training here at this gym. When I get better, I'd love to hit the road and travel. Lieutenant Surge.
Hey, kid, you electrified me in our battle. I didn't know that there were gutsy trainers like you. Made me change my mind about you.
Cool. Erika. I am so glad that there are strong trainers like you. That awareness alone inspires and motivates me to try harder. Please visit me again. Awesome. Koga.
You and I, we must both set our sights higher and work towards meeting our challenges. Now I must go train my daughter.
Speaking of his daughter,
Charine.
In Pokemon Gold and Silver, the gym leader of Fuchsia City is Koga's daughter, and her name is Janine. How did they... What? How do you have an oversight like this? Anyway, Sabrina. The love you have towards your Pokemon. It was a power that was never bested by my psychic power. True. Blaine. From Blaine to Winter.
My fire Pokemon! They'll become even more powerful! And now a quiz! How many kinds of fire-type Pokemon are there?
That is a hard question because there's a lot more Pokemon now than there used to be. Giovanni. From Giovanni to Winter. He actually sends a message? I've never read this one.
There is nothing that I wish to say to you. I will concentrate solely on bettering myself and none other.
Don't rant, 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 don't rant. He wants to focus on bettering himself. Why is he evil in the next game? From Lorelei to Winter. I needed to thank you for your help, but that has nothing to do with our battles. You'd better watch out next time. True. Bruno.
The superpower of your Pokemon in you I've experienced myself. Next time, maybe I should show you how to train yourself.
True. I am puny, that's true. From Agatha to Winter.
When you grow older, don't you dare go soft like that coot oak. Be like me and keep battling on.
Weirdly, like, inspirational in a weird way. From Lance to Winter.
I'm considering going back to my hometown. I want to retrain my Dragon-type Pokemon and strengthen them. I'd like to invite you to my hometown one day.
Cool. I'll go to Blackthorn City. Bill. The cool front sprite! I want to battle him! Hey there! Celio had nothing but praise for you. Hearing that makes me happy. When you catch some rare Pokemon, come show me, okay? Promise. And lastly, Mr. Fuji. Oh, the Cubone hugging his leg! The Weedle! This sprite is awesome!
Instead of hoping for the happiness of just your Pokémon, can I get you to wish for the happiness of all Pokémon?
Maybe he's a little, like, subconsciously wishing for the happiness of Mewtwo. That's everything. That is what you get for completing the Fame Checker. I think this is actually worthwhile if you're just doing it throughout a playthrough and you know who to talk to. Obviously, some of them you need to go out of your way for after entering the Hall of Fame or delivering the Sapphire to Celio, but still, it's a fun little thing you can do to get some extra lore and funny information about these characters, and yeah.
But he wants to better himself! Why is he evil?
I think it's a cool feature, and I wish it returned in future games. Next, we have gone over all 150 Pokemon in the Kanto Pokédex throughout this Let's Play. But doesn't it feel a little empty? In Generation 1, through glitches, it was possible to obtain Mew. But in FireRed and LeafGreen, no method so simple exists, so are we out of luck? Well, not exactly. In 2006, there was a Mew distributed at Toys R Us stores in the United States on September 30th, 2006 from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Getting a Mew in North America in FireRed and LeafGreen hinged on 4 hours on a single day. Players still in line after 3 wouldn't receive a Mew, which... whatever, there's no need to talk about the customer service of a defunct corporation, I guess, but wow! This was distributed to celebrate the English release of the movie Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, as well as the birthday of Jeffrey, Toys R Us's mascot. The thing is, the way this distribution was handled wasn't via mystery gift or anything you might expect, it was handled via trading. And since these Mew were distributed by trade from a copy of Pokemon FireRed, cloned and given to every Toys R Us store, players with copies of Emerald needed the National Pokédex to receive Mew, which is funny. So, since these were distributed in this way, if we were, say, to find a cartridge from one of the Toys R Us that participated in this event with the save file still intact, with all 426 Mew still within the PC boxes and party on said copy of FireRed, well, we could obtain a 100% legitimate Mystery Mew from that 2006 Toys R Us event in 2025. And wouldn't you know it, of course I didn't do this. I can barely afford to pay my rent, guys, come on. However, through a massive community effort involving buying many cartridges, some at auction for a hefty price, and finding every single Mew on the save file, including some that were presumed lost forever but reverse engineered, and putting them back together in order piece by piece, we can distribute this event to ourselves and legitimately obtain a Mystery Mew. Which means, fuck yeah, I can make a bio about Mew! Mew is a jack of all trades by its very nature. Having a 100 in every stat means that it can just about use any move effectively, with the only real determining factor on what set it may be better at using, depending on your Mew's IVs and nature. Mew is capable of learning not only every single TM and HM move, but every move tutor move outside of Frenzy Plant, Hydro Cannon, and Blast Burn as well. Mew can do anything from setting up with Thunder Wave and Taunt, then spamming Thunder and exploding, to setting up with Swords Dance to deal devastating damage with Shadow Ball, Earthquake, and Brick Break before exploding. Okay, yeah, a lot of Mew's best strategies revolve around exploding, but since you received this Mew at only level 10 and can receive it at any time in FireRed and LeafGreen, you can easily obtain this early in the game and retool its moveset as you go about your journey, or even just use it as a stylish HM user. The choice is yours. There's not really a way you can go wrong with Mew. One thing I will say about using it in a normal playthrough is be very careful about its level. Since it's a traded Pokemon, it will gain experience a lot faster, and this means it will easily go over the level cap for traded Pokemon. The trainer is not you. It's Mystery with an ID of 06930. And this is the case for all the Mews. You obviously have your pick of the litter if you're distributing a Mew in this way. As far as like IVs and nature go, I got one with a timid nature, and I got what I felt were the best EVs in the box, but or IVs in the box. I'm not that worried about it though, because I'm not using this, and in all likelihood, I'll probably never even transfer this up. We'll see. But yeah, Mew. It's just cool to have one, especially in the same box as Mewtwo. In Generation 3. This is the first legitimate Mew I've ever had in Generation 3. One thing I never showed in this Let's Play is what happens when you complete the Pokédex. Obviously, the Kanto Pokédex we completed in the last Let's Play, and it wouldn't have been that hard to do it in this one either, honestly, but just to save time, I went ahead and cheated. This is a separate save file, for what it's worth. If I ever do anything with the save file in a future Let's Play for transferring up or anything, I have a legitimate one where I did not cheat to have a complete Pokédex. Well, let's go show Professor Oak.
Good to see you. How's your Pokédex coming along? Here, let me take a look. The amount of progress you've made on your Pokédex is 151 Pokémon seen and owned. My rating, your Pokédex is entirely complete. Congratulations! And your National Pokédex is 386 Pokémon seen and 386 Pokémon owned. Finally, you finally completed the Pokédex. It's magnificent. Truly, this is a fantastic feat! Roar! Thank you, Winter! Sincerely, thank you! You've made my dream a reality!
What about Game Freak, though? We got a diploma for showing him last time, so gotta be something at least that cool. Wow, excellent! You completed your Pokédex. Congratulations! Still get a diploma. This is the just kind of Generation 3 in general diploma, hence the Pikachu and Torchic on it. Also a couple Pecha Berries in the corner. Cool. This document is issued in recognition of your magnificent achievement, the completion of the National Pokédex. Game Freak. I didn't do that. I didn't earn that. But you can talk to him whenever you want to look at it again. And nobody here congratulates you. It's a downgrade from Pokemon Yellow, I tell you. This guy's still a creep. Our next topic is a weird one that I wasn't sure if I even wanted to include or not. I want to introduce you to Pokemon Box Ruby and Sapphire. This game isn't a game at all. It's sort of a precursor to Pokemon Bank in a way. It even shares the same character and everything. It's essentially just a ton of extra PC boxes stored to your GameCube memory card. You can store up to 1,500 Pokemon from any Generation 3 game in it, which makes it essentially 3.5 extra PCs per memory card. Bridget, the host of the game, is the sister of Lynette, who Celio mentioned earlier in the game. She developed the storage system alongside Bill and lives in the Hoenn region. Bridget developed the mass storage system seen in Pokemon Box. So why does this matter? This literally has Ruby and Sapphire in the title. Well, while Ruby and Sapphire are the only games in the series that actually have full compatibility with Box, you can still deposit Pokemon from FireRed, LeafGreen, and Emerald in Box after completing certain requirements. In FireRed and LeafGreen, that means you have to have 100 Pokemon caught in the Pokédex before you can withdraw anything from Box, and you must have finished the Sevii Islands quest and delivered the Ruby and Sapphire to Celio before you can interact with Box at all. When you've deposited a certain number of Pokemon into Pokemon Box, an additional Pokemon egg will be deposited that you can withdraw to your GBA game. This egg will contain a Pokemon knowing a move it can't normally learn and that can't be passed down through breeding, making them pretty unique. I'm not going to make full bios about these Pokemon, but I will let you know what they are. At the start of the game, you receive an egg for a Swablu knowing False Swipe, making it a pretty great catching Pokemon if you're using it from the beginning of the game. Which you can't do because you need 100 Pokemon in the Pokédex to interact with Pokemon Box. But if you're a shiny hunter, it could be a funny False Swiper. At 100 Pokemon deposited in Box, you get a Zigzagoon knowing the move Extreme Speed. Not many Pokemon learn Extreme Speed and get stabbed with it, making this a very unique situation. And this can also pair extremely well with Zigzagoon and Linoon, both learning Belly Drum through level up, maximizing their attack stat at the cost of half their HP, and allowing them to basically have a priority move that always one-shots. It's very funny. At 500 Pokemon deposited, you get a Skitty knowing Payday. This sucks and isn't worth the effort at all. Skitty and Delcatty are just bad, and Payday definitely isn't worth it when at the point you obtain this egg, you've almost certainly deposited a Meowth in a Pokemon box. You need to catch more Pokemon for this egg than there are Pokemon in Generation 3's National Pokédex to put into perspective how absurd this is. And lastly, at 1,499 Pokemon deposited, you get an egg for a Pichu knowing Surf. Don't do this. I know I said back during Pikachu's bio that Surf would make Pikachu an extremely volatile weapon, but again, let's put the amount of effort this takes into perspective. There are 1,025 Pokemon in the modern National Pokédex. This is over 400 more Pokemon than that. The only way you will ever get this many Pokemon is if you're a shiny hunter or a competitive player, and in Generation 3, I doubt that's you, and if it is, you probably use RNG manipulation anyways. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about regarding Pokemon Box. I just figured it was worth mentioning that yes, Surfing Pichu is obtainable in Generation 3, just only by absurd methods that you shouldn't bother with. Just get a Pikachu with a Water-type hidden power. I want to quickly recap the names of each of the Sevii Islands, because while the game calls them by simply Number Island, they do have actual names, and I think it's worth bringing them up. One Island is first up. Friends gather at Knot Island. Knot Island's main landmarks are the Network Center and Mount Ember, both of which have to do with connecting with friends. Mount Ember in a roundabout kind of way where it's, you know, you need to get the ruby. But still, I believe it's called Knot Island because it's all about your ties. This is also how the Brazilian localization translated it, and it's called Bond Island in the Japanese version, so I think it makes sense. 2 Island is Boone Island for 2. Boone Island's only major landmarks are Cape Brink, the Market, and the Joyful Game Corner. I believe it's called Boone Island to symbolize, once again, friendship and connections. The Joyful Game Corner is definitely the main aspect of 2 Island, and it completely relies on connecting with friends and using the wireless adapter, with the common definition of a boon being a thing that is helpful or beneficial, which I guess friendship and connections are. 3 Island, Kin Island of family bonding. 3 Island is called this because it actually consists of 2 islands, one larger and one smaller. The Parent Island, and the smaller Child Island, where you can enter the Berry Forest. This one's pretty easy. 4 Island, the Warm Blue Flow Island. A flow, when spelled with an E at the end, is a sheet of floating ice, and Flow Island has the Icefall Cave on it. This is another easy one. I don't know why it's warm, though. 5 Island, Chrono Island, where time goes. 5 Island has a lot of things that relate to the flow of time. Memorial Pillar, where a trainer mourns their beloved Onyx, and the Water Labyrinth, which I guess you hatch a Pokemon from an egg there, so that can symbolize the beginning of a life. And the Lost Cave, which you navigate by following the directions of a clock. That last one is the only one I'm really confident in, but yeah, it's a time island. 6 Island, Fortune Island of Aged Wisdom. This likely refers to the Sapphire being hidden in the dotted hole being either worth a fortune or it being good fortune that you found it, given where it is. It's called Destiny Island in the German localization, which is way cooler. 7 Island, Quest Island of Infinity. Lord knows why it's called this, because this is the only one where there are explicitly no quests given to you by the game to undertake whatsoever. Okay, but there are quests you can take on yourself. The e-reader mechanics in the Japanese version, sure, but also taking on the Trainer Tower, exploring the Sebalt Canyon, solving the Tanabe Key, catching all 28 unknown forms. These are all quests that you decide to set out on yourself. The name makes sense, and I think it's really cool. Naval Rock. This one is pretty easy too, honestly. It's in the center of the Sevii Islands. Like, the entire region of the Sevii Islands, it's dead in the center of it. So, yeah. Naval, when spelled with an E, is the center of something, the origin point. That's what Naval Rock is. Birth Island. I don't know, I think they just wanted a creepy name for this one, honestly. You could argue that the triangle in the center of the island when you first arrive is like an egg and Deoxys hatches from it. But I think the triangle isn't necessarily something that contains Deoxys, considering once it shatters, Deoxys comes, like, down. It seems more like the triangle is is the meteorite, and once it shatters, Deoxys gets angry and comes at you. So, I really think Birth Island is just, like, they wanted something that sounds reasonably creepy for this event, and Birth Island does sound kind of creepy. Reminds me of, I think, New Island in Pokemon the first movie, where that's where Mewtwo is, and yeah. Okay, so for this next bit, I need to tell you something. I think I'm losing my mind. I somehow completely invented unused content in FireRed and LeafGreen that doesn't exist. I even wrote about it in my posts about creating this bonus video, saying I would talk about something called Wonder News. What the hell is Wonder News? Wonder News doesn't exist. I can't find anything about it anywhere. What I meant to talk about was this old man in Cerulean City in the house next door to the Pokemart. This house didn't exist in Generation 1. Talking to him prompts him to say there's nothing interesting on TV. But if you switch a flag on in the debug build called News 1, his dialogue changes to say he wishes somebody would tell him things directly. And somehow I interpreted this to mean there's an entire unused mechanic related to this? Shame on past me. I think what happened was that I somehow conflated this, oddity from that debug build with Wonder Spots, which were planned real-world places where you would use Mystery Gift to change the appearing Pokemon in Altering Cave. I don't know. I never fucking want to hear about Wonder News again. As usual, the last thing I want to touch on in this bonus video is unused and pre-release content. I'm going to be completely honest here. There is an overwhelming amount of stuff here, especially after the Game Freak Terra leak in October of 2024. If you want to read through it yourself, please check out the cutting room floor and explore this stuff for yourself. I'm really only going to give a very baseline look at some things I personally find interesting. There are obviously some holdovers from Ruby and Sapphire. Every single key item from Ruby and Sapphire is in FireRed and LeafGreen, though most are not functional at all. The Mach and Acro bikes are functional, though their special attributes don't work and they behave as a bicycle that you can't enter Cycling Road with. Every secret base decoration is also carried over, and most trainer sprites as well. You can even battle most trainers from Ruby and Sapphire through hacking, but since their Pokemon data is gone, they'll just use a level 5 Ekans or level 38 Starmie if they're tubers. There's a ton of unused sound effects from Ruby and Sapphire, including one for picking berries from trees. I wish that was how that worked here. And 4 overworld sprites remain from Ruby and Sapphire: Brawly, Rich Boy, Cameraman, and a running triathlete. Lord knows why these ones survived. I mean, maybe Brawly was originally going to be in the Sevii Canyon to give you information about Bruno himself, who knows, but I don't know. Their palette and frame data isn't assigned, which leads to them being discolored and glitchy if they're actually in the game. You know how in Pokemon Red and Blue, if you view the TV in your house from the wrong side, it says, "Oops, wrong side"? That text still exists in FireRed and LeafGreen, but since the TV is considered a wall tile in this generation, you can't read it. The most accurate remake of all time, ladies and gentlemen. There's an unused chiptune version of the Pokemon Center heal machine sound. This could suggest a potential early introduction of the GB sounds item introduced in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or it could just be something they implemented for fun. Shiny Celebi! That's technically unused. It's not legitimately obtainable in Generation 3. There's an unused graphic for a Bug-type TM, despite no Bug-type TMs existing in Generation 3. There's also an early Professor Oak sprite, a bunch of unused overworld sprites for characters and trainer classes doing things they normally wouldn't. For example, Celia walking forward, or sailors and mediums jumping for a rematch. There's overworld sprites for Mew and Celebi, suggesting potential events for them that never came to be. You may say, oh, but Mew got an event in Emerald, but in Emerald, Mew uses a new full-size sprite. There's also overworld sprites for Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, suggesting that they may not have been annoying at one point. And there are animated sprites for Deoxys' attack and defense forms that go completely unused, since when you battle Deoxys, it will always just be in its normal form. There's code to suggest that diagonal movement may have been planned, and it can be re-implemented. I personally think that this is most likely only here for the camera, since it's used in this way in the end credits when the camera pans over the map, and again in Pokemon Emerald during a story cutscene. There's also data for wild double battles that can be re-implemented. However, this feature was never finished and is likely to cause bugs. There are 2 unused trainer classes in FireRed and LeafGreen that I think are interesting. The first is Player, which, yeah, this one is used 4 times, once for Red, Leaf, Brendan, and May, and it's obviously meant for multiplayer. The second, though, is Pokemon Professor, that's spelled PKMN Prof, meaning Professor Oak likely had a scrapped battle again. There's even code for a battle against Professor Oak in the game, though no defined Pokemon data this time. This could have been so cool. So of course they didn't implement it. There's data for a ton of Pokemon that don't appear in the wild that have held items, and some of these are really good. FireRed and LeafGreen have a ton of held items that are otherwise unobtainable in the game without trading from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, which makes it a real bummer that so many of them would have been obtainable in this way. I'm not going to talk about too much pre-release stuff, but here's what I will talk about. The trailer in the Japanese GameCube Interactive Multigame Demo Disc January 2004 features a different intro sprite for Professor Oak, the same shown earlier in this video,
Oh no.
and Red's back sprite having slightly different colors. Pokemon Emerald actually uses these different colors for multi-link battles. This demo disc also features a trailer for the Game Boy Advance version of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, which means I get to mention Peak in this video! But lastly, and most importantly, there's an issue of Koro magazine from 2004 that shows that Primo used to have a different haircut. This is the most important pre-release information I have for you today.
Oh no!
With that, that's everything I wanted to mention in this bonus video. And since I already went through all the credits for this Let's Play in the last video, that's all for the series. Huh. Feels anticlimactic. Do you want another hint for the next Let's Play? I can do that. The next Let's Play is about a game that has only ever had a single game released in the United States of America. Thank you for watching this Let's Play. I hope to see you guys then.